Way to come. Good morning. Welcome to Sales Chatter, the logistics podcast where we try to help 10,000 reps hit a million GP. I'm your co-host, Ryan Mohammed. With me is my good friend, the bodacious cowboy, president and CEO of RGTX Logistics Solutions, Jeff Dickinson. How you doing this morning, brother?
Good morning, my friend. We have a great show, or should I say a couple of good shows today. And we might as well get into it because we got an awesome guest. So let's do this.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
As brutal as they come, we got that thing. So, Jeff, I want you to announce our amazing guest today. It's no stranger that we have to the show. So I'll let you take it over from here, brother.
Sure. It's really funny because this is like the trifecta of sales chatter. Both Ryan, myself, and our really good friend and guest, Lisa Petty, have been watching the Sales Chatter HPLS sales podcast for a few years now. And it's ironic that now Ryan and myself are the co-host of Sales Chatter, and one of the first original supporters that we'll bring on is Lisa Petty. We appreciate her so much and so glad that she's joining us this morning. Let's welcome Lisa Petty.
Hi, guys.
Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. It's nice
the trio is here. The trio is here.
Yeah.
I think this day was coming for a long time. It really has. You've been commenting in the Sales Chatter comments for months on end. You've had so many good comments and insights, with your conversations with the guests that we had. So glad to have you on.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here, and my heart's racing. It's awesome to be on this side, and you guys have been part of my journey and starting my day off right, getting my mindset right. You've been a huge part of that. So thank you, and thank you all the guests here as well. It's awesome. So thank you.
I appreciate that so much, both Ryan and I. You're like an ambassador for women. And I say this because you've gone to Rwanda for a few weeks. You represented the women really well over there. And your counterpart, I know you went with a woman over there. Not sure who you met over there, but I'd love for you to talk about that because our episodes are about empowering women into logistics. So the floor is yours. Tell us about your trip and what you have done.
Yeah, so it's been interesting looking back to October when I first met Sarah from Cirilla, and it was thankful for LinkedIn. Her brand popped up on my feed and it just caught my attention, and I feel like it was a meant to be thing, hindsight. But it's, her brand, it's got sparkling tea. And a little bit about me, I did a post last week. It's been 2 years since I've stopped drinking. And so I was on a mission to find like my go-to drink because I love to have a drink in my hand, right? So so I just reached out to her. I learned what she was doing, and it just totally lit a fire under me, and reached out. We connected, and the synergy was amazing. And she ended up inviting me to go with her to Rwanda. And I didn't know much about it. And Chad and I looked into it, and, my first thought was like, oh my gosh, no, like getting on a plane and going to Africa. I've got 2 kids. There's no way I can do that.
Right.
But thinking through and like digging deep, and it's just, there was something inside of me that was saying, go, go, go. Just why not? Just go. And so I booked a flight and jumped on a plane and went to Africa with her. Rwanda. Yeah.
So tell us about your trip. What did you do? I saw all those beautiful pictures of the mountainsides, the people.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that, because I
Yeah.
found it very interesting. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know many people that have traveled to Africa and spent as much time as you did. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, right?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That's long enough. I mean, going into a foreign country like that, you've never been there before, right?
Right.
So it must have been one heck of an experience.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience there.
So my first memory was we stepped off the plane, very small plane, stepped off, and just, it was nighttime. And the air, and we could just, it just was different. And we're like, and she's like, oh, she hadn't been there in 3 years. And she's like, this is, oh, she's like, it just felt so good. So the air was different. It was like home cooking feeling that it was, I said, is this what fresh, clean air smells like? And she's like, yes. And so we just, it was a great first impression. My first morning, woke up, I looked out the window, and there was clotheslines, and it just kind of brought me to childhood. And it was more of a reset trip to just kind of be open to what the universe has to offer. And yeah, I mean, she had a full-on agenda, busy every day, meeting all her connections she has. And you know, all the different farmers, we traveled and went to the tea factory, which was incredible. I love going and seeing firsthand operations and the factories. And it's just like, I love this. And it was just, her and I were having so much fun. And we both were like coming up with all these different ideas and had a lot of fun. So meeting the farmers, going in the villages, it was very humbling experience.
Sure.
Watching all the children on the side of the road, the joy in their faces. And a lot of the people, when we're passing through, they just have this confused look, like, what's happening? And it's like, it was because cars don't drive every day on those roads. You know, we were foreign car looking. And so it's just, they look puzzled, like, what are we doing there? But it's just like the impact that efforts over here, everything she's doing, everything, you know, it's inspiring me, like one business, the difference that can make. And it's inspiring me to go find other businesses that are on the same mission to have that impact in the world and change people's lives. And it's awesome to have that platform here in logistics to go out and find whatever business we want to work with and help them to do better for the world and other people. And so that's exciting to me.
That is so awesome. Maybe someday in my life I'll get the chance to go there and visit, because I found it very intriguing, definitely, for sure. So, Lisa, tell our audience, who is Lisa, and how the heck did you get into logistics?
That's a great question. And you know, it's interesting just looking back over 16 years to like reflect. Like, that is just something that I recommend everyone to do, and take the time out. You know, you hear about it, oh, you need to sit down and reflect, but like really sit down. And I know, Jeff, you do this with a notebook every so often, and just, but it was, so I was born and raised in Southern California, in between LA and San Diego, San Clemente. And I went off to school in San Luis Obispo, and we're out of college, worked at a beer bar. And then I wasn't ready to enter the world. I was having too much fun. And then started working for Gallo Wine Company. And so I was slinging cases of wine in grocery stores in Santa Barbara. It's a very highly competitive industry. So I had a lot of, my skin was like thick skin built up from that experience of 3 years, hustling and protecting product on the shelves, and that's a whole, a whole interesting industry there. But from there, I knew that there was something more. I was in all my jobs, I was like, there's something more. I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't happy with, I knew my potential was more. And so after 3 years of working there, I was looking. Actually, I was looking for about 9 months, and I had my resume on goodoldmonster.com. And I remember the phone call I got from my old Unishippers manager, who he saw my resume and he said, "Hey, I think we might have something we can offer each other." So I went through, because I was like, what is shipping? I don't know. Like most of us, we don't know too much about the industry. And then I just went through the interview process and was like, hey, I am excited for a change. And this is the territory that was open was here in my backyard,
Nice.
South Orange County. So I just went for it, took the job, and, never looked back. The rest is history. And so that's how logistics found me. And I gravitated. So at the time we were selling small parcel, DHL, and then freight. And so then I was part of the company when they transitioned selling DHL to UPS. And that was really fun to deal with too. But so again, I was not finding myself not happy. I wanted more. I wanted more of an opportunity to treat it like my own business. And I didn't see that where I was at the time. And so I started to look and started to talk, and then thankful that coworker at Unishippers, they introduced me to the owners of Mike and Dan at American Group and said, hey, you should talk to these guys. They're amazing. And so they're based out of Chandler, Arizona. So started the conversation with them, and it was amazing. So I've been with them for 13 years now.
Oh, well, 13, 16 years ago was much different than what it is today, right?
Oh, yeah.
What was the biggest obstacle, barrier that you had to climb over at that time? Look, just go back and reflect on where you were at that time and where you are now, and everything in between, the ups and downs. And I ask you this, Lisa, because, you have a lot of new women who are entering the field that have maybe similar backgrounds as you, that, are just, not sure of themselves. What's the next step? How am I going to get that? How am I going to be like Lisa? So tell the audience, about those issues that you had over those last 16 years.
I look back and I remember there was a learning curve like any new job. And I remember having my, the inner self-critic talk to me. And so that was the challenge of like battling my own self-critic, my self-doubt, and powering through that and proving to myself, you know what, you can do hard things. You can learn. You can do new things. And like looking at when I was at Gallo, I remember feeling that, like those challenging moments. So I'd say like one of the things that was challenging was fighting my own inner critic, and pushing through. And like at Gallo, I got told no a lot, and you just have to persist and push through and not be discouraged and keep your attitude positive and not let any negative no's bring you down. So that was one thing I recall being very challenging for me, and pushing through that, and then seeing the other side and that competence, that we've talked about here, that competent loop. As you do it and have success, keep the momentum going. And then keeping activity level up, like that's huge. Prospect, I remember being back, grinding on the streets, had my calendar out in between appointments. If someone wasn't there, oh, sorry, we had a meeting today, what it's like when you're on the streets, and that's the nature of it. So it's like, okay, well, what can I do with this block of time? My next meeting's not till noon. So then it's just like, okay, getting on the phone and then just jumping to the different sales process, different parts of the sales process.
That is Well, first and foremost, I just want to say, like, Lisa, you are a true friend of mine. I'm so happy to have you here. And for the people who are watching out there, when Jeff and I came up with empowering women into logistics for being our season, you were the first person out of Jeff that I reached out to get ideas. And I was like, Lisa, we got to hop on a call. And I wanted to get your feedback on everything because not only like you support the show, and that's not what this is about, you
Right.
just support women in general. And it doesn't matter where they kind of come from. And anytime when we have somebody on our show that talk about being a mom, that's when Lisa is like, yeah, let's go, being that biggest cheerleader and being things. Can you explain to the audience? I know you have two beautiful young girls, yourself and Chad. Can you explain what it's like being a mom entrepreneur? You're somebody who is not necessarily kill what you eat, but you're in charge of your own destiny and proving that to your kids, right? So what does that mean to you?
That means a lot. When I look back to when we had Kelsey, it was like a culture shock to our life. It was a big adjustment. I was an only child. I didn't have a lot of young kids around me. And so, you hear about, oh, it's going to be so wonderful. And so you're like super excited. And I love my children, don't get me wrong. But the reality was like, holy cow, what has happened to our life? Like I was 37. And so it was a long time of being on my own and then, meeting Chad later in life. And so it was a big adjustment for me. And so I don't think that's talked a lot about just that adjustment piece. And so, it was just me and I was very heavily focused on the business. And then it was like, bam, no, I can't do what I used to do. And so that was a hard adjustment for me, like just coming to that reality, like, okay, I have to really rely on my team more and just let go of the control, which, can have its challenges. And so, it's tricky being a mom and a business owner, balancing responsibilities of the household, keeping kids alive, keeping business flowing, connecting with customers still, finding new, and then just finding time for Chad and I, like, a lot of times that can go back burner. And so we do weekly date nights to keep that.
Nice.
Because that's, the kids are going to be gone when we're 18. So we need to have our connection too.
I like that because, like you said, you have all facets of life, and the one thing with being a mom is that we constantly say you got to wear different caps at different times, and sometimes you got to wear two caps at the same time. Like let's say you're in a Zoom meeting or something like that, and like your kids are going like they're screaming around like that. But for you, it's really important that we understand that your journey where you've gotten to so far, sorry, for 16 years. Like you talked about your sobriety and how important that was for you, and then working with Chad, and you guys are a team. Can you explain, because you do have a unique dynamic with Chad that you guys actually both work together. Can you explain to the audience there what that experience has been like? Has that, I would assume, it brought your relationship a little bit closer, but sometimes it's like, let's get out of here. Do you guys work together in the same office? Explain to everybody what it's like working with your husband.
Yeah, so it has been a roller coaster, I'd say, of us working together, not working together, not working together, not. And when I had Kelsey, he jumped into the reins to continue to keep things flowing. We had American Group support as well for customers, but he was like keeping the mothership running, so to speak. So, that was awesome. I remember moments of like being on the couch and like shouting to him like, oh, do this or do that, or but and he always says like, I married into the business. So we get excited and we talk about our opportunities together, but then sometimes we're like, okay, we need to shut it off because that's all we're talking about. And so it's a beautiful thing, but it also, you have to have your boundaries and shut it off every now and then. And then, then we decided it's probably not healthy for us to work together. So he would branch out and do his own thing, and then I would continue. And then it's like, well, maybe we should revisit it. And so he's come back in, and so it's been kind of in and out, and we always bounce ideas off of each other. And I'm grateful that he knows the industry and he's fully supportive and is an amazing husband and helps out tremendously with the kids to just help make our lifestyle work. So
shout out to Chad. Question for you in terms of as our season is empowering women into logistics, and you are a strong supporter with everybody that we have here. Can you speak a little bit about how important has it been for women supporting women, especially yourself, either you being a cheerleader or somebody's cheering you on? What has that done for you, and what advice do you have?
Yeah. Yes, LinkedIn has been a huge part of my engagement and connecting with others. And I'm grateful for Dan Deigan reaching out to me back before I had Ruby, my second child. She's 2.5 right now. And from that, I've met, Christy Knichel, who has been, I've talked with her a few times, and she's been a great leader for me to aspire to and connect with. Nicole Glenn as well, and just the Ladies Leadership Coalition, like that group, to me, it's like they're speaking my language. I can totally relate, so it makes me feel not alone, and I get really excited and empowered when I tune into that. And then you've seen me share some of my moments and takeaways from that. And then also, like, this platform right now, like, I'm excited to see, other people and what I can do and what I can share with others. Connecting with other women, other moms. I love that. And I'm excited for an opportunity of this community to continue on afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So, got a question for you. What does empowering women to Lisa mean?
It's a great question. To me, it is empowering them to have courage to go after what they want, listen to their inner voice, don't second guess themselves, and finding that grit, determination that they don't even know that they're capable of doing, but helping them to push through, show up for themselves, kind of like a fight for their life, and do big things, follow their dreams, help them with that, and not make them feel alone.
That's
so yeah. So helping them to see their true potential, and then, to help them empower them to set goals and achieve them, and, help them to push further.
Right. I know for a fact that you talk to other women in the industry. That's obvious. During your conversations, I'm sure that you discuss this as well. What do you think is missing from everything that you said? Do you find that a lot of women out there have the same relatable problems? And what do we do about that?
What's missing? I think it may be perhaps their own self-awareness. And I'm speaking from my experience, like looking back, oh my gosh, how did I not know that then? Like, just hindsight. So maybe they're not aware of certain things they're doing and ways that they're doing it better. So self-awareness. And what can be done is encouraging and having more women come forward and speak, and make them feel like they aren't alone. I keep saying that, but it's what keeps showing up for me here.
What can men do more to support women in the industry?
Men. So can you be more specific as to like a role? Like, would it be a husband or a boss or?
I would say in a work environment, women coming into the industry brand new, or women that have been in the industry in a work environment that maybe they don't feel what they're supposed to feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think empathizing with what women go through, kind of taking a look at what women do every day, just like being aware of everything that goes on in a woman's life, and encouraging, maybe at a corporate level, having the women get together and encourage them to come on and maybe share about their weekly wins or monthly wins. I don't know. It's a great question.
It is. It is. And I should have asked that a lot more with the guests, but I just thought of that. It's like, because let's face it, men have a lot to do with the success of women and whether or not they're going to get to the next level. It's not just women and women trying to help each other. It's a collaboration of human beings collaborating with each other to help each other get to the level that he or she wants to get there. Women supporting men, they always have. But on the other side, come on, men, let's support the women to help them get to that next level. That's why Ryan and I are doing this, to help men to realize that there are still issues out there that women face, that with their help and understanding, that we can get there a lot faster if we would just all work together.
Right. Agreed. And encouraging more men like that, like you guys are doing, and having more panels like this. It's an opportunity for that statistic, the 25%, to improve that statistic. And it gives a platform for women to have a voice and to share their perspective. And I think it's amazing. And we want more of that.
Yeah, we'll definitely be like our biggest cheerleaders, and those networking events. As Stacey brings up a great comment here, and Lisa, what I understand is, like, I look at like your Freight is Fun Fridays. I look at the different things that you do to make our industry more fun, because like you mentioned, you did it with like parcels when you were at your first job. So I can't imagine that being fun, having to deal with, hey, where's my shipment, or dealing with like different companies and things like that. But how do you find that work-life balance? You mentioned it early before with the having date nights with Chad and making sure that, hey, we're not talking business. Our phones are down. We're going to enjoy this time. I know that you guys take quite a bit of vacations and things like that to kind of reset and kind of get away. What does work-life balance look for you as, I'm going to ask you in three parts, as a business owner, as a mom, and as a wife?
Great question. So, well, first off, I want to go back to the Freight is Fun. I love going on vacations and making it. I look at the map and it's like, okay, where do we want to go? And then who's around there that we can see? So bringing the family, going and seeing customers, showing the kids factory tours, like that's fun to do. So that's part of where that Freight is Fun. Also, the nastiness that can happen, all the issues. And it's like, ooh, Freight is fun, like sarcastic, but it truly is fun. And then when we were able to turn a negative into a positive, like that's just super fun for me. So back to the question, work-life balance as a business, it's time blocking, it's getting my skill set up on quality focus time when it's business time. Kids are off to school. Well, Ruby's not in school yet, but the nanny's here helping. And so then it's like, okay, here's my time, go. And being as productive as I can in those blocks of time. So, taking the hat off on. And then as a mom, having weekly dates with the girls, trying to do that. It doesn't happen every week, but and I color coded in my calendar so that, Ruby's purple, Kelsey's, another color, so that I can just have just to kind of check in for myself, like, okay, I'm showing up, so weekly dates with the girls. And then you said, so as a mom, what was the other question? As a
wife.
As a wife, yes. So weekly dates with Chad. We try to go on, we had a goal. It's not happening as frequently, but every 3 months going, him and I somewhere just for whether it's just one date in town, like one night overnight in town, and just making sure we're having our quality time too as well.
That's amazing. And you do that well, you do that really, really well. And so kudos to you, you're able to balance all those things. And, there's a lot of things that you've said that people can relate to here. And it's just not men or women, just specifically, it's all of us, all of us as human beings, we can kind of get to there. So Lisa, one last question before we wrap up today's amazing episode with you. When you're all done, when you're all retired, when you're done slinging freight, what is the legacy that you want to leave? Just in general. So I'll leave that up to you.
Talking back to that inner voice and following my what keeps showing up. And it's been 2 years, no alcohol, but I am super fired up and passionate about how my life has changed since I stopped drinking alcohol. And so the legacy, one, for my girls and their friends and everything, but just to show them and the world that there is a much better life on the other side if you do choose to not drink. So I'm super excited and fired up about that, and I would love to have a legacy of my children and friends in the community saying, wow, look what Lisa did, and question, create curiosity of, well, how did she do it, and why did she do it, and what can I do? And, should I do it? And so just to spark that curiosity for others, to help encourage them to stop drinking, and just to change lives in a much positive way.
That is amazing. That is actually perfect for everything. So I want to thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day to spend it with us. I'll be honest with you, you're better here as a guest than you are in the audience. So we got to do this sometime again. How can people get a hold of you? Anything you got planned for the rest of the year in terms of going to conferences or anything like that? Let people know how they can network with you.
Sure. You can find me on LinkedIn, Lisa Petty. Just send me a direct message. As far as conferences go, our wedding anniversary is the same, date as the Women in Trucking. So I want to go to the Women in Trucking, but it's also our wedding anniversary. So we're toying around with the idea to make it a dual trip. So that's it as far as any conferences. And so reach out to me. I would love to connect with you guys.
All right. Well, thank you again, Lisa. Thank you so much to the audience. It's a testament to who you are, because when I posted this event yesterday, we got so many messages from other viewers as well. Couldn't wait for this episode, and we're clearly seeing it today. And it's like I said, it's a testament to you as a person. So thank you for being you, Lisa. We're truly appreciative of it. The audience, thank you for coming out this morning. We've had a lot of fun. We'll definitely hit the replay again at 2 and 6 p.m. Actually, we got another episode at 2 o'clock today, so we won't be hitting the replay at 2 o'clock. We will be at live again with Maria. Catch us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you found value, which I know you did, please like, comment, share this with a friend. Like we said, share it with Amazon driver, because you got some packages coming in the mail. Cowboy, take us home, my man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lisa, for taking the time out of your busy day to join both Ryan and I on Sales Chatter Live this morning. We appreciate your insight. I know that our audience did as well. We'd love to have you come back. I know you'll be watching tomorrow morning like you usually do.
Big day tomorrow.
Absolutely. And we appreciate that. We have another good show this afternoon, and tomorrow, wow. Yeah. So with that said, we'll see you later on this afternoon. The Bodacious Cowboy is out. Have a great day, people. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.